So everyone's mad at Brian Krassenstein, and totally understandable why. I mean, just look at this freaking horrible tweet. But I actually want to thank him. I want, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, Brian Krassenstein. In a few dozen words, you have exposed the entire pride racket in one tweet. Mwah! This is beautiful. All right, let's break this down because this is absolutely wild. Now, from what I gather, I mean, I haven't searched much. I'm not going to do a deep dive investigation and, uncover people's dirty laundry. I'm just judging by what I see on my 2 months on Twitter. All I see is every time I log on, this one of these homeboys, because there's twins, by the way. There's Brian and Ed. I think that those are their names, and they just constantly are always at the top, like whatever. And from what I've gathered, they're like pseudo intellectuals in the sense that they obviously shill for the left. Like if this tweet isn't really obvious, then sorry, I don't know what to tell you. But they try to open conversation by trying to take something that most people would be like, "Oh, that's bad," and ask questions about it. I for some of the posts, I guess I understand. Giving people the benefit of the doubt and things like that, allowing for a fuller discourse. I get it, except for Trump and, obviously. And then you have things like this. So once again, thank you. And most people are getting mad over the first one. I'm upset over the second one. But both of these actually work together with the meme that we have right over here. So this is should have called it the pride racket excuse, but let's say we're looking at puberty blockers. A few years ago, whatever, we were like, oh my God, kids are taking puberty blockers. Aren't they for like felons and stuff? And are they? I don't know, whatever. But puberty blockers, oh my God, kids aren't doing them. They're not taking them. Then after a few weeks, a few months, we, documentaries and stuff happening. People started posting things. Oh, well, okay, it is happening. Well, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, it's only a few kids anyway. So, like, what's the problem? And then after a while, it continues and continues. And then we realize that, like, more kids are doing this. And then suddenly it's kind of like, yo, why do you care so much? And then the final step, and I don't know how we're going to get there, but you beat people with step 3 enough, and then we'll get to step 4, which is this is good and necessary. And actually, you already see this with puberty blockers. Puberty blockers are good and necessary because if kids who think that they're trans don't take them, then they're going to commit suicide and they're going to die. So it is good and necessary. So we see the full 4 steps with puberty blockers. Now, what this is referring to, there's a pride parade and there was a dude, a naked old guy on a bike in front of kids, and there's been plenty of videos, and probably the worst one is, and I'm not going to show it on YouTube obviously, but it's the old dude that's twerking in front of little kids and he's in tidy whities, and it's there's only one response for all of these things. This is bad. This shouldn't happen. The people who are exposing themselves naked, if they're breaking the law, which I'm pretty sure is breaking the law, should be arrested. The children should get psychiatric help. The parents should be shamed and admonished for what they've done. The organizers of the event should be fined and penalized, and there should be consequences for actions. But in the attempt to start a discourse, seeing a man naked on the bike isn't going to have much of an impact on any kid. They have likely seen their father or brother naked before. Okay, so let's go back to the meme because, oh, well, that's right over here. Step 2, not that big of a deal. You see, it's not a problem. They see they seen their dad naked. So what's the problem in showing them a naked body? And if we apply this to schools, then oh my God, we just open up the entire can of worms. Because why not show graphic scenes of people having sex? Because maybe I'm pretty sure a lot of kids in 1st or 2nd grade ran and accidentally walked into their parents' room when they're having sex. So it's okay for other people to show them that. Oh my God, that's horrible. That's the worst kind of logic I've ever seen. And honestly, it's this logic that allows these sorts of weird things, this whole pride racket to be thrown in schools. Like, oh, we should teach 1st graders about again in kindergarten about pride because it's in Target and stuff like that. So like it's in the open. We might as well teach it because like otherwise we're gonna put our heads in the sand or some BS like that. Oh, okay. Let's see what else I have for this one. And honestly, like the fact that honestly you'll allow anything. You will allow. I mean, let's have drugs in schools because there's music videos and all that stuff that showed people taking drugs, so that's okay. I can go on and on about that one, and the internet has done a really good job at doing that. And let me just put a pin in it. Honestly, just because the parents don't do their job and don't protect their kids enough from you know, parents giving cell phones with unfettered access to 7-year-olds is ridiculous. But that's not an excuse to go and throw this in front of their faces and mainstream it and stuff like that. Oh, and I know some of you are gonna be like, oh, this is hypocritical. This is hypocritical because of the second point that he makes. But no, you're dead freaking wrong. You're absolutely dead wrong. I will debate anyone. I will die on this freaking hill because, like, for me, I mean, for anyone saying that this is bad, this is not a hill. This little mound, like, this is a tiny step. For Brian, though, this is a freaking mountain. So, number 2, sharing an uncensored video of a naked man on a bike to an audience of possibly 30 million kids on Twitter is arguably worse than riding a bike naked in front of a kid or two in a planned event that the kid's parent took them to. This is the one that's really offensive and you actually have to think about this one a little bit. So, step 1 is the excuse of allowing stuff in schools. Like, oh my God, let's show kids this stuff because they see it in real life. Let's talk about trans stuff because there's TikTok videos about it, which that whole thing is its own miasma of just absolute horror because it's kind of funny. The same people who are saying, oh my God, it's on Twitter, it's on TikTok, let's mainstream this or let's like teach this to kids, are the same people posting this on TikTok. But whatever, that's not part of this conversation right now. So the second one is, oh my God, you're doing the same thing. You're being as bad as the people who are being gross and perverted, who are exposing themselves to kids. So someone going out and saying, hey, this shouldn't happen, is as bad as the person being a disgusting pervert. Not only are you wrong, but you're disgusting. You're an awful human being. If you legitimately believe this, people should be asking questions. Like Occam's razor. Why are you complaining about something bad happening? Let me see if I have some examples for this. Let's get some examples. All right. So, okay. So this kind of behavior. Number 2 is what allows. Let's get an example. Let's say there's a book. The book is called "This Is Gay." Right. That's a book that teaches little kids. It shows little kids how to like go on like Grindr and stuff like that, or Tinder or whatever. And so, I mean, what's the big deal about teaching kids about Tinder or anything like that? Because I mean, it's out in the world. Maybe your parents met because of a dating app, so it's okay to teach kids about. Do you see how stupid that is? If you don't, then I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's say, yeah, this book that teaches little kids, that teaches middle schoolers on how to like, do deviant adult things. And a parent found out that this book existed. And then they go to the school board meeting. And in the school board meeting, the parent goes, hey, wait a second, this book, why is this book in my sixth graders, was like, what, 11 years old? Something like that. In my sixth graders library. And then they go read an excerpt from the book. Brian Krassenstein would stand up and shout this parent down, would say, oh, this is wholly inappropriate for this public setting, thereby letting the awful thing continue to be in school. Because if people don't know that there's something bad happening, there's not going to be action taken to stop it. Let me give you a worse example, because if we're shouting out crazy opinions, let me take this to its full craziness. Let's pretend in the 1800s, in the early and mid 1800s, we had access to video cameras and photography and all that. And someone from the north decided to sneak into the south. And then they took footage of slaves being whipped and beaten and abused and killed. Brian Krassenstein, and then what happens is this person goes to a town square and starts posting all these pictures everywhere. It's all over the newspaper and stuff like that. Brian Krassenstein would come out and say that the people exposing the evils of slavery are as wrong as the people who are committing the slavery. Like, how messed up can you be? Oh my God, you're offensive. You need to be ratioed. I hope that every single time you post, this will be mentioned. This will be thrown in your face. You deserve nothing but this. Oh, and honestly, and like number 3 is just the same repetition. It's just a more broad explanation of what number 1 is. Like, this is, you're an awful human being. There's only 2 possibilities. One possibility A, you want to be a smart ass and be like, hey, let's have a conversation about this. Let's see how much how traction I can get. And then you get slapped in the face. Or 2, you actually believe this. Dude, you're defending horrible people. You're defending a kid getting old naked people exposed to them, and then you say it's okay. And then the worst part is, in order to milk the most amount of attention and money that you can get from this, I have challenged the founder of Libs of TikTok to a Twitter space debate after she continues to lie about and misrepresent what I said. I even offered her the ability to select all speakers. If she's so confident in what she said, and I'm sure she will love to talk about it in front of thousands of people, right? All right. Shout out to Alex Rosen for this retweet. Dude, really? Like, you're gonna continue to grift over this? The freaking duck behind me can have a debate about this with you. Literally anyone can have a debate about this with you. There are thousands of people waiting to debate you. I would gladly do it. Honestly, like, I would do it, delete my Twitter, and then recreate a new Twitter handle and never mention the fact that you got buried by a random person on the internet because your opinions are frankly dumb. Thank you and have a nice day. Honestly, one last thing. Thank you again, Brian Krassenstein, for memeing yourself into oblivion. Mwah. Have a nice day.